Good afternoon. This video I'm going to be very brief. We look at the footnote here from Hoffman, David Hoffman. He always a very strong Ruckman follower. This is dealing with 1 Timothy 6, and he has a note here. The faithful pastor is required to teach that it is blasphemy against God for a slave to rebel against his master. Okay. God doesn't want rebellion. Even the situation you find yourself in. Back in the Roman days, whatever, you find yourself in a particular situation, you're not supposed to rebel. But you're supposed to, if you can get your freedom, take it. Paul says that. If you can get your freedom, take it. You know, St. Patrick, the evangelical minister who evangelized Ireland, he was a slave. He took his freedom. He escaped. You can escape. The South wouldn't let you escape. No escaping from the South. This truth, now, let me show you the jump here. Paul's writing 2,000 years ago about slavery in general in a pagan society that accepts slavery as normal. No. Now we're going to jump to the Civil War, 1860, 64, right? Now all of a sudden we make this big. You say, hey, what's all this fuss about the Confederacy? What's all this fuss about? Remember, the Confederacy is the one nation, quote unquote, that had race as an issue. So according to them, they were fulfilling the mandate of Genesis 9 about the Hamites. That was the excuse they used to keep one particular race. When these guys run to these verses in 1 Timothy and Colossians and Ephesians, you see the word slave there. You see the word servant there. You don't see the word Negro servant. But in their Constitution you do. It's the word Negro, you don't see servant there, you see the word Negro slave in their Constitution. The only thing you see in these verses in Ephesians and Colossians and Timothy are servant, and no particular race is mentioned. But in the Confederate Constitution, they don't have the word servant, they have the word slave. And they don't have just slave, they have the word Negro slave. You think that's a biblical society? Okay, so the truth reveals the Emancipation Proclamation, the abolitionists of the 1860s, and the politics of Abraham Lincoln and the 39th Congress were blasphemous actions and attitudes against God and the USA. Now, they went from the idea of the individual slave revolting to the idea that it was blasphemous to free a slave. Get that, people. That's what they're saying. They were against the 13th Amendment. No Democrat voted for the 13th Amendment. Do you understand that, people? No Democrat. Southern Democrats didn't vote for it because they weren't in the Union at that point. Northern Democrats didn't vote for it. And these guys who say slavery is a positive good, Negro slavery is a positive good, they tell you it's blasphemous to free a slave. Because by freeing the Negro slaves, you enslaved all the white people to speak of government. So according to these guys, and Breaker, and all these guys, if you went and freed slaves out of a Muslim country, it's blasphemous. It's an institution. Why are you freeing slaves from Muslim countries? Why are you freeing slaves? They want you to think that he has an institution. You go see the institution exists and has been arrogant and ignorant people cause strife over this issue without researching the facts. And we know the facts. The institution of slavery has never been abolished. Well, God didn't form the institution of slavery. God formed the institution of nationalism, family, and marriage. He didn't form the institution of slavery. These guys think that he did because of Genesis 9. Do you understand that? What they're saying here? Do you know the depth of the evil that these guys were involved in? So according to them, freeing slaves is blasphemous. The institution of slaves never been abolished. Revelation 6:15. So the fact that just slavery exists in Revelation 6:15 means, it must be a good thing. It's an institution. You see, he listed all those things, people. And he put servant and slaves under there. That wasn't instituted by God. The church was created by God. Marriage is created by God. Family is created by God. Slavery was not created by God. God set up regulations regarding slavery. So I'm going to start put this up. This is the man you're dealing with, people. This is all these guys. They think God set up the institution of slavery, and therefore they think it's a good thing if you're a slave to Jesus Christ instead of being a servant. That's why the modern versions read that. That's why he lies to you and says doulos in his thing on slavery, breaker. That doulos and servant are synonymous terms. So every time you see the word servant, and many times the word servant isn't being translated from doulos, it's being translated from pais. You can transfer it to mean slave. That's what he's telling you. So let's stop put this up. Amen. Thank you.